Yes, you know.
All right, brother. So the first thing here is that I have to say it's really good. Your process is really good. Okay, your process is great. It's similar to mine, right? So when I have to read something in detail and I have to understand every part of it, I do read it aloud to myself, right? Not in my best voice, right? But just enough to where my brain and my mouth are all kind of working together, right? It's a good strategy, T, right? Keep it, use it, right? I'm glad that you kept true to your own style. I was like, oh yeah, do some pre-reading and you can do it quickly. But then you chose to read it aloud. Why? Because it makes more sense to you then.
Yes.
Right? So stick with it, brother, right? And that's why I said, it's good. Okay. The next thing here is that I wanted to get a sample of you reading a lot, right? And I have some of your old benchmarks from before when you were a kid, but nothing from like right now. Okay? So go ahead and just, can you please read this first part for me in like your best voice if you can, right? If you
I will
don't know
try
any
my.
of the words, if you don't know any of some of the words, just ask me.
All right, I will try my best. Have you
All right,
ever
bro.
felt like you don't belong? Like your friends or colleges are going to discover you're a fraud, and you don't actually deserve your job and accomplishment?
Wow,
Yes,
that was almost perfect, right? That was this one here. This is colleagues, right?
colleague.
Colleague, and then we actually have to add that to our colleague is going to be right here.
Why there's so many among us references in this
I
one?
know, right?
You're a
Right?
fraud.
Okay. So as we go into this here, I just wanted to ask you, like, what do you think about imposter syndrome?
This is very interesting syndrome, I would say. It's like, I would say 100% people will have this, including INFJ, right? Yeah.
Not 100%, but I think it's possible that people experience these feelings, and it's possible that people who are INFJ experience these feelings as well.
The thing is, one of the INFJ, like the normal stuff is they need to be perfect, something like that.
Yeah. But the funny thing is, brother, like I gotta tell you, everybody wants to be an INFJ. You know that, right?
Yes.
Like I don't know if you've noticed that, but I've really noticed it a lot. I mean, like here are some of the examples. Like I'll have students and I'll have classes with them, and they'll ask me about psychology and personality types, and they ask me what kind I am.
By the way, what's your type? What's it?
Well, hold on. It's that they will ask me, I'll say my answer, right, to answer your question is going to be every time I take the test, I can pretty much get whatever personality trait I want. Does that make sense?
It makes sense a lot, right? Because whatever you answer, whatever you try, they just know what you're thinking.
Yeah, and my success rate is not perfect for sure, right? But it's a problem. It's a big issue in the world. The issue in the world is that there are all these free personalities out there that are telling people that they're one of 16 types, which I think is ridiculous, right? Like that's ridiculous. There are so many different kinds of people, and it's just basically, in my opinion, like another horoscope in some ways. But that's okay, like if anything helps a person learn more about themselves, then that's a positive thing. If it's accurate, right? If it's incorrect, eventually they might find out for themselves, or it might turn into something. But the reason I bring it up to you, brother, is that these two are directly connected, right? It's that you have imposter syndrome and then INFJ, where the INFJ one that's written on the website for personality tests is very positive and very great, and like it doesn't have a lot of the problems, right? Like maybe one paragraph. Okay. This article focuses on all the problems of imposter syndrome and doesn't directly connect it with INFJ, right? So that's how these two articles are really different. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
Cool. And so as you're growing up and you're going into more English classes, all the tests are starting to be where you have to compare texts, right? That's going to be a very regular thing that you're going to start doing. So let's talk about each of these bullet points. And I'm glad that you did the pre-reading. All right. So the first one here is that, have you ever felt like a perfectionist?
Not often, and just sometimes. Yeah. I would say like 10%.
Maybe like sometimes when you're playing games or something. But I think one of the things that you learn, T, is that there are always so many things happening in life where there's not enough time to make everything perfect.
Yes, you cannot just focus one thing and just going to accomplish it.
Correct. Yes, I'm glad you learned that earlier on, because some people, they feel like you have to make everything perfect and then they can relax. But look at it this way. Perfection, remember, is a state of completeness, right? And so if nothing is ever complete, that means that nothing is ever perfect, right? And there are many things that are never, ever complete, right? Like it just keeps on
So
going.
for me,
Okay.
he
Second one, experts feel like they need to know everything before they speak.
to
Do you know anybody like this, or have you ever had this feeling?
like a mix of
I'll give you a quick example. It's kind of like, it's the kid
Yeah,
in
I know
class.
this one. It's like people. It's going to be like the one kid that wants to know like everything to make sure that project will be 100% correct or something like that. For example, like if I'm
Exactly.
having like if the teacher gave like a ESS project about like something, there will be one kid just ask, hey, so what is the so how so like and there's any extra points? What's like the catch? Is there anything about it? Like what do I need to do? Is this correct? Something like that. There'll be like the one kid in the class that asks about all of this
Excellent.
to make sure
Explanation.
that work is like 100% correct.
Excellent. Excellent. Perfect. And so that's where the perfectionist and the expert kind of are connected, eh?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I know some people like this too, right? For sure. Okay. Let's see here. When the natural genius has to struggle or work hard to accomplish something, he or she thinks that means
he understands that
I don't know if you've ever had this feeling. Have you? Have
Maybe
you ever
not.
had, like, the third bullet point is a little bit easy, is a little bit harder to understand, but I'm not sure.
Yeah,
That's
this one I think I understand this one. I think this one means that like there will be like the geniuses that sometimes they will struggle with like some kind of work. Like there will be like one day the genius like have a work half like a work and he's like she cannot do like the work accomplish it, and they will feel like, oh I cannot do this, so I'm just useless, I'm stupid, something like that.
You got it. You got it. And like the thing that I want to say about this is it's funny. Like I've experienced this myself too, but like it's complicated here in the imposter syndrome. There's a part that I didn't have, which is the second part, you know. I'm not a genius, right? But most things are pretty easy for me to learn. Okay. Most things are pretty easy for me to understand. Same thing for you actually, right? But you know, like learning Thai is something where I do have to focus and work on it to learn it, because it's one of those things that you just can't absorb magically and easily. You know, like I've tried to absorb it as much as possible easily over the last few years, but I know I have to work at it. It's not so easy. Yeah. So the part that I don't have from this is that if I put in effort to learn Thai, it doesn't make me feel stupid. You see what I mean? Right? It doesn't make me feel like an imposter. So therefore, I don't think I really have this problem. But it's interesting because there are some people that I know that they really avoid doing anything that's hard because it does make them feel like an imposter. Does that make sense? Right? Yeah, and that's pretty hardcore, dude, right? It's avoiding something, right? Avoiding, right? And
It's
I've
like
observed
avoiding new topics, so they make sure they feel
new
like they're
topics,
smart.
work. It's fascinating. It's like it's conversation, it's work, it's emails, many
By the way,
things.
sorry for the interrupting. By the way,
Do you need to take a break?
can you still answer my question? What
Sure.
personality type are you?
What personality? Oh yes.
I asked this one like
okay.
7 minutes ago.
Yeah, I thought I answered it with this. Okay, the first time I took this test, right, I was an INFJ. I've taken it like maybe
I was wearing like a
how many times have I taken
gray
it? I
coat.
don't know. I think hundreds of times
It
now,
was
right? Because I had to do it in class with students.
October. If I remember,
I have tested out of all those 100 times, right? I have been an architect, I've been a logician, I've been a commander, I have been an advocate and a campaigner, right? I have been a defender and a consul and executive. I have been a virtuoso entrepreneur. And I've also been an adventurer as well, right? But like the ones that consistently come out
I
are
remember
going to be
playing inside
defender
the apartment
and advocate.
there was like a very small
Interesting.
Yeah, and then like these are the three. Yeah, these are the three that
There was
come
like
up
a
most.
small reception desk.
Just kind of like going with the flow and taking the test. Make sense?
Mine is a consul. Or in FE, mine is
You're the consul,
ES.
extraordinary, caring, social, popular, people always eager to. Absolutely, dude. Absolutely. But the funny thing is, bro, I really have to share with you is that you have bits and pieces of every single other personality, and there are hundreds of thousands
So
more.
inside the apartment complex,
Okay.
the hallway
Right?
was
Hundreds of thousands of more because they're all different iterations. You know that word, right? Iterations.
Left turn, and right
Right? All
turn,
different versions. Right? Because like if I'm an adventurer and you're an adventurer, we're still different, dude. We're like so different. More different in so many ways. Clear?
Clear.
Okay. So, you know, like if you have you ever read the advocate description?
Pardon?
Have you ever read the advocate description?
Wicked description. The INFJ?
Yeah, yeah. Have you ever read this description?
No, but I know what's what's the typical things of INFJ. You know that.
Sure. Tell me. Tell me. What do you think they are?
The first thing is they are 100%. They want to they need to be 100% of almost like everything. Like what do I say? Their mark is like higher than the average people. They want to go like further. The second, then they are they always help people, but sometimes the helping this could be like weaknesses because sometimes they could like help too much to the point that they like overburn themselves from just helping people instead of taking care of themselves, studying of that test. But no, they just help like other people, aka they just like helping people, right?
Yep,
I'm not
yep.
sure.
And then, yeah, you're right. And then the only other thing to add there, I think you already have it, but it's that they want something
I
bigger.
remember that one time that we are
Yes.
lost in the hallway.
They want something bigger than normal. And like, what is bigger than? That's gonna be hard to do.
It's going to be like it's going to be like people enjoy 100%. They see that 100% is perfect. While like the INFJ sometimes could look even further than 100%, like 101, something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
It's going to be good and bad at the same time. The good is they will 100% they will be like better at it, and yeah. And the cons of it is going to be like a difficult way to get to the 101%.
Yeah, exactly, dude. Exactly.
Literally, it could be impossible. So they just waste their time just torturing themselves to just get to the 101%. That is impossible to get.
Exactly. It's trying to control something that you have no control over.
Yes.
Right. One person I know, he or she refuses to put their pictures online, you know, like they don't want to share their face, right? And I get it. I totally understand them. And it's because maybe they don't like the way they look or they don't want to put themselves online or many of the things, right? Like if I had it my way, I probably wouldn't use social media that much, you know? But I have survival for work. Yeah, in the end, it's kind of like
I asked my dad to go.
when we look at these two concepts, imposter syndrome, INFJ, aka personality traits, right? I love that you mentioned it. I know that it's super trendy for your generation, and you guys are trying to say you are this way and I am this way, and so we should be like this. And that's kind of rough because you're trying to control a lot of things that cannot be controlled in that scenario. Clear? Good. Okay. So advice, big bro advice here, right? Big bro advice is that no test will tell you who you are. Okay. Right? Only life will do that. And it comes from within your brain that tells you who you are. Okay. Using your words and everything that you learn about yourself, because you're the only one that knows the track history the best. Right? Like from the moment you had your first memory to now, you are the only guy that's got access to all that.
Yeah.
See? And then there are like maybe 3 other people who have similar access, not the same. Clear?
Clear.
Excellent. Still not the same though, because they're not in your head. Got it?
Got it.
Okay. All right, cool. So today we are really working on Anki Notes this month of December as we close out the year. And I'm very proud of you for using it and learning words from it. You always remind me that you're a good student, brother. It's good. Okay. We did some vocabulary exercises, and then I also introduced you to Aki notes and then custom cards, right? So the connection to this is going to be in the next few years, you're going to start getting tested on concepts where it's a concept and then it's a bunch of text or stories or paragraphs. That will be good for you. Clear?
Clear.
Right. In that case, flashcards are great. Mind maps are good. Images, everything. You can put your strategies at work. Right. Now, the next one here, right, to close this subject here, I talked about it before, imposter syndrome and personality.
Not again.
Yeah, I'm good. We talked
Among
about
us reference.
Yeah, you got my main takeaway points, all right? And then here, T, please write your own personal takeaway points. Here right now, right? Do that for a few minutes, then we'll take a break. Thank you. Then we'll take a break, and then after that, I'll introduce you to your writing of today. Okay?
I'm kind of confused with this one. Please take